Welcome back, everybody. My name is Nick930, and today we're going to be doing a first impressions review for Dishonored 2. Now, I know this review is very late. This game came out about a month ago now, I think even more. But you know what? It went on sale for the Steam holiday sale, and I figured I might as well pick it up and try it out. And I'm glad I just tried it and didn't keep it. I had to refund this game because, oh wow, the reviews were right. This game is a disaster on PC. And I will tell you why, but let's just start by talking about the story first. Now, the game's story continues from where the last Dishonored game left off, with Corvo at the right hand of Emily Kaldwin, the heir to the throne of Dunwall, and they are both honoring the late Queen's death several years after the starting events of the first game. Within a few seconds of the game starting, things start to awkwardly go bad as an obviously evil character walks in with gigantic robots and starts claiming she's the true heir to the throne. Now, what's awkward about this is that the guards that were in the palace beforehand, before anyone walked in, who I would have assumed had full respect for both Emily and Corvo, considering they were ruling over them peacefully for so many years, they very quickly suddenly turn around and kill all the innocent people in the hall and immediately turn against the main protagonist. It just seems like really lazy writing, and just a way to add in tension to the game's story, and kind of repeat the events of the first game so that Corvo and Emily are now outlaws forced to sneak around the city of Dunwall all over again. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, the game does feature plenty of lore-friendly collectibles and a return of some characters that, honestly, I don't remember from the first game. But, I mean, I'm sure this will really appeal to the die-hard fans of the world of Dunwall, and I just don't think it's all that interesting. Now, like I said before, this is a first impressions review, so I didn't complete the story to see how it ends or if it gets any better, but according to several users online, this game's story is already much shorter than the first game, which is absolutely ridiculous considering my biggest complaint with Dishonored 1 was how incredibly short that campaign was and how easy it was to sneak through. The fact that Arcane Studios made the game even shorter is just nonsense, but it could be a game design choice to try and encourage players to replay the game with the character at the beginning they didn't initially choose, and try different strategies in overcoming the game's very open-ended level design. Now, that is still in the game. You can move around and use all kinds of different powers and be very creative, but I mean, if the game is super short, then it's not going to be all that interesting to replay because the areas are all going to be very repetitive. Now, let's just take a moment to talk about the game's design and explain one of my biggest reasons I ended up refunding this game. Dishonored 2 is a stealth game at its core, meaning the stealth mechanics need to be, top-notch. They need to be perfect. And they need to operate with a specific rule set that is predictable and easy to understand. This game's stealth mechanics, however, are completely broken and simply do not work as intended. The game states at the very first encounter you have with soldiers that the lightning bolt indicator will fill white, and when it's completely filled, guards will begin to search for you. When the bolt fills white and then starts to turn red completely, guards will begin to attack you and have officially spotted you. I had to replay the opening sequence a ton of times simply because this one simple mechanic did not work at all. Sometimes guards would spot me from around corners, they would spot me through the walls, and the lightning bolt having only turned halfway white, they would just immediately run over and start attacking me. Other times, they start attacking me before the bolt turned red. I'm pretty sure it said in the tutorial that it needs to be completely red for them to even notice I'm there. I replayed this section several times, sometimes just to test the frame rates, other times just to try and successfully complete the section without being spotted. Now, it's important to note that at first I was attempting to play this game in the hardest difficulty setting, and I thought maybe the very hard setting just isn't functioning correctly, and the medium default setting works better. But no, even on the medium difficulty setting, the AI was completely broken. So, okay, that's just the game's core gameplay that seems to be pretty broken. What else is broken? Well, the combat is just as wonky as it was in the first game, with guards killing you even though their sword clearly missed you. As you can see here, it went to my left and should not have hit me, but it killed me anyway. The animations for when you die also appear to be broken. Most of the time when I was killed, my screen would just freeze and it would start turning red, and that's like the only indication you have that you're dead other than the loading screen coming back up. When the game behaves correctly, like in the first game, the camera will start rolling around on the ground as if they beheaded you and your head is rolling around. But it appears as if this animation is just broken most of the time, and then your head just gets suspended in midair and stuck. So, yeah, I mean, that's obviously a glitch as well. I wasn't able to explore much else in terms of gameplay before getting completely fed up with this game's technical issues. This game has a ton of problems, and most users you'll see will be complaining about the bad frame rates, but that's honestly only the tip of the iceberg with this game. One of the biggest problems I found with Dishonored 2 was the game's frame pacing. Even at a locked 60 frames per second, the game felt like it was running very unstable. I tried switching to windowed borderless, as this can sometimes fix these issues when running multiple monitor setups, but I had no luck with this option. I tried combinations of triple buffering enabled and disabled, but still no luck. It was most noticeable in the throne room in that broken stealth segment. Every time I looked at the 3 guards in the center of the room, the game felt as if it was running at a lower frame rate than what was being displayed in the frame rate counter. It's difficult to really describe, but for a game that looks so mediocre, we shouldn't be seeing any type of poor unstable performance. Speaking of mediocre graphics, Dishonored 2 looks pathetic. For a game released solely for the current generation platform, this game looks exactly the same, if not marginally better than the original game in the franchise, which is a PS3 Xbox 360 game. Bland textures, outdated lighting effects, hardly any reflective surfaces at all, and Arcane tries to hide behind their art design, but it doesn't change the fact that the game character's facial design looks ridiculous. Plenty of games, including BioShock, a game that Arcane clearly borrowed all their designs from anyway, have improved their graphical design while retaining their core style, so Arcane trying to claim the game looks like crap because of their style is just ridiculous. Now let's take a minute to talk about the sound. It's also broken. What a surprise. It's all sorts of broken though. I mean, the sound gets out of sync all the time, including the initial opening sequence.
Watch your step, Majesty.
Sometimes the sound will just cut out, or certain sounds will play while ambient sounds cut out.
I'll be all kept to thank you.
And other times, characters' voices will soften randomly as if someone just lowered the volume, while other characters' voices further away get louder.
Ramsey's family fell from the aristocracy, and apparently the man holds a grudge. How it's anyone else's fault, that's beyond me. But one way or another, Ramsey is too dangerous to be left in play.
So yeah, you might as well just add that to the list of reasons why you really just shouldn't buy this game. And finally, believe it or not, this game has unstable frame rates. I know, it's crazy, right? At first, it seemed like the game was running flawlessly, a stable 60 frames per second, with the vertical sync on, with the only real performance issue coming from that odd frame pacing I mentioned earlier. But when I went outside after the opening sequence, and just like several other users have reported, the more AI soldiers on screen, the lower the frame rate. The frame rate dropped significantly when I tried to run through the streets with all of them chasing me. Not quite sure why this was a cause for a lower frame rate. Perhaps the poorly coded AI makes it difficult for the outdated game engine to keep up. Now, before I get comments saying, oh, your computer must be crap, upgrade your hamster, no. An i7 6700K Windows 10 64-bit machine with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and a GTX 980 Ti GPU should be more than enough to handle this. This is unacceptable that a game that looks like it came out last gen is running this poorly. It should be running perfectly for pretty much everyone's system. So yeah, that basically wraps things up. I issued a refund for this game, and I won't be picking it up until pretty much all these issues are fixed. I'm tired of paying to test a developer's game. There's plenty of other functional games to play instead. I rarely refund games. I didn't even refund Arkham Knight, but this game is simply unplayable, from the performance to the broken AI. I highly advise against purchasing this game on PC. If you really want to play this game, I highly recommend looking into getting it on the consoles instead, because the PC version is just too unstable and it honestly is not worth your money. So thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more, and I will see you all next time.